Welcome to the deep dive. If you're running an organization today, you probably already know workflow automation isn't just a nice to have anymore. It's pretty much foundational. But what happens when you start layering in, truly intelligent AI into that automation? That's the big leap we're exploring today. We want to cut through the hype and really get to the core of two major players in this space. So we're taking a deep dive into n8n and Zapier. These are two leading workflow automation platforms. We've looked at comprehensive comparison guides, in-depth reviews, really trying to unpack their differences. Our goal, our mission for this dive is to help you understand how these tools can, well, dramatically boost how you get things done, especially with their AI smarts. And we'll even walk through a specific marketing use case to make it concrete. Okay, let's break this down. Let's dive right into the core then. For anyone just sort of navigating the automation landscape, n8n and Zapier, they pop up a lot. What's the real foundational difference between them, and why does that difference matter so much for your business?
Right. So at their heart, both are about empowering you to build automated workflows, generally without needing extensive coding. But they definitely cater to different philosophies, different needs. And IMN really stands out as an open source platform. It offers exceptional technical flexibility, and its standout feature is probably the self-hosting capability.
Self-hosting, so you run it yourself.
Exactly. You run an AHM on your own infrastructure.
Yeah.
That gives you ultimate control over your data, which is huge for privacy, especially with sensitive information. And, you avoid those per-task costs that can sometimes spiral with other platforms. It's really built with technical teams in mind, those seeking complete command. Zapier, on the other hand, launched way back in 2011. It quickly became sort of the benchmark for no-code automation. Its main strength, incredible accessibility, and just a massive library of integrations. It makes it perfect for getting things set up quickly, even if you're not super technical.
Okay, so right off the bat, it's kind of like the classic build versus buy idea, but for automation. Or maybe more like control versus convenience.
That's a good way to put it.
Because for some businesses, that speed and simplicity Zapier offers might be the winning ticket. But for others, NAN's deep control over data, over the logic, that might be absolutely non-negotiable, strategically vital even.
Yeah.
So understanding your priority there, that feels like the first big insight. Okay, that foundational difference is a great starting point. But what really fascinates me, especially looking ahead, thinking about 2025 maybe, is how deeply AI is getting woven into these tools. It's not just an add-on feature anymore, is it? It feels like it's fundamentally changing what's possible. So how are NN and Zapier actually approaching this AI revolution? Are they on the same page or?
Oh, they definitely have distinct strategies here. n8n is really positioning itself as truly AI native. It boasts this really advanced integration with LangChain.
LangChain, right. That's the framework for building complex AI apps.
It's a powerful framework. And NEN offers nearly 70 dedicated AI nodes built around it. This unlocks some seriously sophisticated AI workflows. Think large language model chatbots that actually have advanced contextual management. They can remember earlier parts of the conversation, you see.
So more like a real conversation.
Precisely. Or REA systems, that's retrieval augmented generation, which can pull specific up-to-date answers from your own internal data sources. And even autonomous AI agents that can make decisions and interact with other services independently. So for those really heavy-duty automation projects, the ones deeply integrating custom AI, NEN is clearly the more powerful, more flexible option. Now, Zapier, staying true to its accessibility philosophy, has developed several AI features too, but they're very much centered on user experience, making it easy. Think of things like Zap Guesser. It intelligently suggests automations just based on what you say you need. Or Copilot, which helps you build zaps faster by understanding what you're trying to do in plain English. They also have AI chatbots, though still in beta, I believe, for customer and employee interactions. And AI fields within Zapier tables for tasks like, say, sentiment analysis or summarizing content automatically.
Sentiment analysis, interesting.
Yeah. So while Anion offers, more technical depth and customization for AI, Zapier provides a much more accessible, kind of out-of-the-box way to sprinkle practical AI capabilities into simpler workflows.
That depth versus accessibility theme keeps coming up, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Especially with AI. It makes me wonder, though, for a business wanting to leverage AI, is there a risk of, say, hitting a ceiling too quickly with the simpler tools? Or maybe getting bogged down in Onion's complexity if their needs are actually pretty basic right now? Where's the sweet spot for each when it comes to AI?
That's a really important question. It depends heavily on the project scope and the team's technical comfort level.
Right. So we've touched on the core philosophies, these really interesting AI features. But, theory is one thing. Let's try and make this really tangible. How do these different approaches, especially with the AI components, actually play out in, say, a real-world marketing scenario for our listeners?
Absolutely. Let's take marketing and lead nurturing. Zapier's excellent for getting small-scale AI-powered automations up and running fast. Imagine a new lead comes in through your website form. Zapier's AI fields could potentially summarize their request instantly, maybe even analyze the sentiment. Are they hot or just looking?
Okay, so immediate insight.
Exactly. Then ZapGuesser might suggest the next logical step, perhaps triggering an automated personalized email. And maybe Copilot even helps draft that email based on the lead's info, all happening within seconds, potentially, without you manually doing anything. And because of its huge app library, over 7,000 integrations, now you can connect all those standard SaaS tools you use, like your CRM, email marketing platform, etc., and set up these quick wins in maybe just a few hours. No coding needed, really.
Impressive speed, for sure.
Now, if we look at the bigger picture, n8n offers, well, unparalleled flexibility for more complex, high-volume, or deeply customized marketing operations, especially when you bring in its deeper AI. Think about content publishing for a large online media company, for example.
Yeah.
n8n, using its LangChain integration, could potentially not just schedule and distribute massive amounts of content across platforms.
Which is already used.
Right. But it could also help generate, optimize, maybe even adapt that content using LLMs and RAG systems that pull insights from the company's own internal knowledge base or style guides. This could dramatically automate and speed up complex publishing workflows. Or consider custom CRM automation. Maybe you need to sync sensitive customer data across systems, schedule very specific follow-up sequences, trigger highly personalized marketing journeys based on complex logic. n8n handles that complexity well, and crucially, the self-hosting option means all that sensitive customer data stays secure within your infrastructure. So it really brings up that question again, doesn't it? Do you need speed and simplicity for fairly common tasks connecting standard apps? Or do you need that deep AI-driven control for high-volume, secure, or highly customized marketing processes?
Wow, that's a huge difference in scale and capability. One sounds like it's for getting started quickly, scaling up basic tasks. The other feels more like it's built for, well, industrial scale content generation and data management, especially with that security angle. But thinking about that listener who might start simple but has big ambitions, could picking the easy start with Zapier maybe box them in later when they need that industrial scale? Or is it possible, you think, to bridge that gap, maybe use both? This feels like it goes beyond just features into long-term strategic thinking.
That's a very valid point. Scalability and future-proofing are key considerations.
Okay, so beyond the really exciting AI and marketing stuff, what are some of the other, maybe more mundane but critical, practical differences people need to be aware of, especially thinking about, cost and that control aspect we keep mentioning?
Yeah, the practicalities are crucial. The pricing models, for starters, are fundamentally different, and this really ties into the value proposition of each. n8n charges per complete workflow execution, regardless of how many steps or tasks are in that workflow. And the big one, its self-hosted open source version, is completely free to use.
Free, okay, but you need the infrastructure.
Correct. You need to run it somewhere. But that means you own the infrastructure, you avoid those recurring software license fees, and you get total control over your data. You could, for instance, host n8n on something like a Hostinger VPS for maybe as little as, $5 a month, which makes it incredibly cost-effective for high-volume use. Zapier, conversely, bills per task. So each individual step within a workflow, or Zap, counts as a task. This simplicity can be great initially, but for workflows with many steps or ones that run very frequently, the cost can really add up as you scale.
Right, those tasks can accumulate quickly.
They can. Zapier's free plan is also quite limited. I think it's 100 tasks a month and only 5 zaps. Paid plans start around $20 a month. So financially, n8n generally becomes much more economical as your workflow complexity and volume increase, particularly if you leverage that self-hosted option.
It really is that owning versus renting analogy you mentioned earlier. Total control and potential long-term savings with n8n, but you handle the upkeep. Zapier is the convenient rental.
Exactly. And that owning part leads straight into data control and security, which, as you said, is paramount today for so many businesses. With n8n self-hosted, your data literally never leaves your secure infrastructure. You control where it lives. This is absolutely critical if you need to meet strict data residency requirements, like GDPR in Europe, or compliance standards like IPF for healthcare data, or SOC 2.
Peace of mind, essentially.
For many, yes. Zapier, being a cloud-based SaaS platform, naturally follows industry best practices. They have SOC 2 Type 2 certification, they're GDPR compliant, and so on. But ultimately, your data is being processed on their servers. So you have less direct control over its physical location compared to a self-hosted n8n instance.
Okay, that's a major distinction. What about just using them, the learning curve?
Ah, yes. User experience. Zapier definitely prioritizes simplicity and accessibility. It
Hmm.
uses that very linear trigger action model. You pick a trigger in one app, you pick an action in another. It's designed for non-technical users to grasp quickly.
Pretty straightforward.
Very. n8n's interface is also visual, using a flowchart style, which is helpful, but it's definitely designed with more technical users in mind. There's a steeper learning curve. Its true power, its full potential, really unlocks if you have some knowledge of JavaScript or at least a good understanding of how APIs work. That allows for much deeper customization and complex logic.
So more power, but requires more know-how. Seems to be the recurring theme. Okay, putting it all together then. For our listener, standing at this fork in the road, how do they decide who should actually choose which tool? Is there an ideal scenario, or like you hinted, maybe a mix?
Absolutely. The choice really should be guided by those specific requirements we've discussed, the technical skills available within the team, and of course, budget constraints. So choose n8n when. Data privacy and security are absolutely top priority, especially for sensitive data. Or for really complex workflows needing advanced logic, custom code, maybe sophisticated data manipulation. When you absolutely need complete control over your automation infrastructure, you have the technical resources comfortable with self-hosting and maybe a bit of coding or API work, or frankly, when budget is tight and Zapier's per-task costs look prohibitive for high-volume scenarios, it's really ideal for developers, technical teams, people pushing the envelope.
Got it. And Zapier.
Choose Zapier when your team maybe has limited technical expertise, and you need to get automations running quickly, when you need to implement things fast without waiting on development resources. For organizations using a really wide variety of common, mainstream SaaS apps, that huge integration library is key. When you prefer a fully managed cloud solution where you don't have to worry about server maintenance or, for simple to moderately complex workflows, it's definitely the beginner-friendly option, great for getting immediate value.
That lays it out pretty clearly. It really does depend on the organization's context.
Yeah.
But it brings up that important follow-up you touched on earlier. In today's world, could a company realistically, maybe even strategically, use both?
Oh, absolutely. I think for many organizations, especially larger or more dynamic ones, the ideal approach might very well involve using both tools strategically. You could use Zapier for all those quick wins, connecting standard cloud apps, handling simpler, high-frequency tasks where speed of implementation is key. Easy stuff.
Get the basics covered fast.
Exactly. And then bring in n8n for the heavy lifting. The complex multi-step workflows, the ones needing custom logic, deep AI integration, or where that self-hosted data control and security is non-negotiable. It's not always an either decision. Sometimes using both is the most powerful and.
Okay, so we've seen that both n8n and Zapier are really powerful workflow automation platforms. They just have distinctly different strengths, different advantages. Each excels in certain areas, especially as AI gets more deeply integrated into both. Your choice, it seems, really boils down to your specific needs, your team's technical capabilities, and yes, your budget. So thinking about all this power, the AI native capabilities of n8n, Zapier's super accessible AI features, it makes you wonder, what critical knowledge, what insights, what processes are you, listening right now, holding back from automating in your own work or organization? How could you leverage AI beyond just the simple tasks to truly transform how things operate? Maybe even thinking about designing your own autonomous AI agents using some of the ideas we've explored today as a launch pad, something to think about.